the fish market, maybe? A phone. Someone must have worked hard to smash the plastic dome. Hard-working people, just the kind I like. A dead phone, a smashed receiver, like someone hung it up too hard. You can imagine why. Calls become terrible sometimes. Oh, this is definitely the fish market. Okay, let's explore the fish market first.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad.
Take a closer look.
It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled
Is this the
with pieces
jacket?
of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
I think this is the jacket the Indian Doom Spiral guy wanted me to find.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have it returned.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
Man, how did this jacket get so disgusting?
It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it?
Think about it.
It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it.
Oh boy.
It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore.
Okay, but what's the crust made of?
Somehow, it was carried or dragged to the boardwalk. If not by human hands, then perhaps the feral dogs that prowl the beaches at night. The faint impressions of many footprints are also present, though it's impossible to tell what kind or how many. Suffice to say, the jacket spent some time on the ground before someone draped it over the railing.
What happened once someone put it on the railing?
The crust is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. Who knows what happened to it then? Somewhere, high above the city, a pair of seagulls trace loops through the air. They are like the bombardiers of the aerostatic brigades, gliding above a target-rich environment. All of a sudden, the bomb bay doors open, and their white glittering payload rushes to the ground. Splat, an explosion of white on a man's shoe. A curse goes up, but the birds do not hear.
Why did I just spend all this time thinking about seagull shit?
It's too late. You've already thought about it, and now your hands are covered in muck.
You.
Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out.
That was a fun waste of time. What is that? Makeshift roof. Vagrants have tried to make the boardwalk habitable. That tarp will keep out neither rain nor snow nor wind. Yeah, it's not very tight. There's a guy there. A big wine canister. It's open and empty. Oh, I don't think that guy is alive.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
I think that's corpse smell we're smelling. Hold on. That is awful. What is it?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be.
Heads up, Lieutenant. Something's not right here.
The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Careful, these floorboards look rotten and weak.
A man lies on the boardwalk. His limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on.
The lieutenant squats next to the corpse and examines his face. Two bulging eyes stare back at him, void of any signs of life.
Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe.
Study the man himself.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits. Or maybe it was just dark.
Examine his face.
His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years.
Study the man's clothes.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest.
Search his pockets.
You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
Study the surroundings.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Let's take a look at his head.
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
No, just this one at the back of his head.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
Tap on the floorboards.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him.
Let's check out the bottle.
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its
spirit.
cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Let's take a look at that gum wrapper.
Rubowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall.
Look in.
The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too.
Thing is, you shouldn't really get too deep into this. This is not a murder. This guy just unfortunately died here.
Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Who is this man?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
I don't know. Looks like just an old drunkard to me.
And he was married. But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found on the Martinez boardwalk.
What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
What about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the parks.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
You think he was drunk? Oh, he's definitely drunk. Let's not ask that. Alright.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
We found him, we should finish this.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station for my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin.
Oh, the kebab wrapper is
You
here.
see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Let's check out the cigarette package.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra.
Astra.
Red Astra is the black market version of Astra,
Astra.
cigarettes, known for their high tar content. Now, this makes partying look bad. Still, don't let it sway you. You're responsible.
Let's check out the tear.
2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter.
Checks
That's
out.
all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
The coin-operated viewer has been out of order for years. Alright. Moonshine probably smells like a tasty fermentation. Coin-operated weighing machine hasn't been used for a decade. Vagrants have recently painted the tarp red. Water drips from it. Ooh, new glasses. I mean, our encyclopedic knowledge is already pretty fucking dope, so I don't think we'll need that. Some more there. We're kind of fine with money though. Oh, this does look like some sort of power plant or something. Bars cover these long, dusty windows. Oh, who are these?
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blond man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Khan Hailostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot
What?
of people realize the historic
How does he know Kim?
very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
You and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his worm-themed coloring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is
Oh, I
the
hate this man
coalition
already.
landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
What's so fascinating about an empty old building?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on, what's R&D?
Research and development, we know that. Let's look at the building, let's take it
It
in.
looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Yeah, I think I heard enough.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an
Königstein.
aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here.
Should I ask? This guy is extremely boring. And what was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
A tape computer.
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Oh my god. I mean, we're not gonna do this, of course, but like, this option, turn to Mikhail. It means they all got shot in the head because they were bourgeois. Now, do you know what the bourgeoisie is? Tape computers, right?
Tape computers.
What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
What was that?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans le Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago,
Oh boy.
I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and
Jesus
Guy
Christ.
Jones joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum?
Yep.
Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
Okay, the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, Paul Ockerman, Keith and Guy Juiced. What are you talking about?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
Come on, there's no place called the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center of Arts.
Actually, I think there is. No, it's too much. He's joking.
In fact, I'm not. The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Cool.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07.
Wait, the file playback experiment?
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience, but those are incorrect.
Why did the revolutionists destroy it?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
2 seagulls circle in the sky. You look up and think, really? Or was there a 4th prototype that remains hidden in the mausoleums below Cold City?
I wanted to ask something else.
What else?
Actually, that's all, thank
No,
you.
thanks to you for having me and little Michaela here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation.
This guy is
indeed.
so annoying.
Pick your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.